Howdy, welcome back. We are right in the middle of a conversation with that guy, Christopher Lyon.
Mm.
And that guy waving is Robert Cochran. And we are having a daily dose of dopamine and talking about art and creativity and the relationship of Parkinson's.
We have someone in our Yes and Exercise community, Paula Dalek, who is another example of this, who did not have much artistic ability that she knew of until her diagnosis, and now is incredibly prolific. And you mentioned
It was after her brain surgery, I think.
It was after the DBS.
After DBS, that's interesting.
So, and you mentioned a venue. I want to just go ahead and plug this, by the way, that we are going to be featuring some art from some of your artists, as well as Paula's work, associated with this thing called the Yaks Effort we're doing. And so people who want more information, please go to our website about that. They'll be able to bid on these pieces. That's what we want to do good, because I think one thing you're bringing, you mentioned the business background into this, to recognize people who get diagnosed with Parkinson's. Sometimes this can feel like a death sentence to their working career,
Right.
to their, in all kinds of ways. And, you being responsibly, kindly in a way to say, hey, wait a minute, you're producing legitimate art. It just needs an avenue. That's very commendable. I just wanted to thank you for that, Chris.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, I'm a little bit fortunate, just speaking for myself personally here for just a second, that, with my business career and such, I mean, I do, so I'm not sort of strapped in the way that many are, but yeah, you're right. But I only bring that up but even myself, though, I terminated my own career rather abruptly, because as we all know, stress is not good for this disease, and my career was stressful. And so yeah. So as you said, these are careers that were ended very abruptly, and many people do not have these resources. They're on fixed income, and they would have been anyway, but then their earning years have been cut short. And so, yeah. And so anything that we can do for these artists, I think, is always well appreciated.
And now I want to dive back into your story, because that's where we left it. So French poetry and your MBA, and you had been a writer before. Are you a comfortable poet at this point? Are you comfortable with your writing?
Comfortable is, I mean, some of my stuff I like sort of better than others. And, gosh, when I think about sort of the poetry that Jan Stewart, I mean, some people are there, or Ashley Romberg, who's here in Austin, they're just really at a different level than I am. But still, I mean, yes, I enjoy it. And that's really, and it's kind of interesting for me that people now are starting to know me as an artist and as a poet, and not really knowing me so much for my business background, which has been really interesting, really wonderful transition for me. I used to be, before my diagnosis, I was known as Chris, and now it's Christopher. Sort of in both in this conjunction that I think Christopher is somehow, to me, more artistic. The also part is, if you look at some of the poetry, a lot of us know that Parkinson's is a shrinking disease. And so with that, so now I'm trying to expand. I'm trying to grow that name.
I love that.
Yeah, well, thanks. So this all kind of, so I'm right here in this midst, and it's continuing on as we speak, of reinventing myself as an artiste. Yeah, it's pretty great again. And I feel very blessed and fortunate that I have the ability to sort of reinvent myself in this way,
And I want to point out, with an apology, I did shorten your name a moment ago,
Chris. No, it's okay. It's okay. And again, I'm still in the process myself of, it's not your fault. Yeah.
No, it's great, because I'll tell you that, for years I was Bob, and I was known as Bob. And it wasn't until I directed my first film that I took on the full Robert David Cochran. There was something in it. Yeah. So I understand what you're saying, and that's very cool. So thank you for that story. Susan, what strikes you about this idea of transitioning, becoming more than within the disease? You've had yourself some transitions, becoming more than.
Well, you've helped everyone in your classes understand the word creativity is quite boundaryless. It's not just performing or something like that. And I don't know if I was one of those people who would have said, I'm not creative. I don't think I am. I think I would have acknowledged it just because of things. But it's a discovery. There's so many levels at which transformation has taken place. I know Paula as a painter, she's sort of shaking her head at herself. And Christopher, I don't know if that's your experience with maybe some of your early poetry
Mhm.
of say, wait, I just wrote that and that came from me. And that's really, that's a poem. I mean,
Yeah.
it's vast. I'm not being very articulate, Robert, but it's
No, I
vast.
love everything you're saying because, when you're talking about rediscovering yourself at any point in life, whether it is because of a disease state or whether it's a graduation or whether it's a death in the family, I think our lives, the older we get, we
Mhm.
recognize opportunities to, go 90 degrees somewhere and become something we'd never considered before.
Mhm.
And within Parkinson's, it feels like some of that is almost a forced opportunity. That if you don't do some of that, if you try to hold on to your past, you're only going to make yourself progressively more miserable because the known is probably being taken away. That doesn't mean that some unknown can't be there for you if you're willing.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
that's what's so beautiful about what you're doing, Christopher.
Yes.
You're facilitating this presence in the world, the greater world
Let's
for
do one more facilitating that greater presence because I think there's more here. Let's do one more episode. We'll catch you on the next one.